There is a row at every public auto auction that nobody walks. It is the far end, where the vans sit with fleet numbers stenciled on the doors and a season of pollen on the windshields. Buyers walk right past on their way to bid on whatever is shiny and under 5 years old. I have been a mechanic for 23 years. Half the vans in that ignored row will still be working 15 years from now. A lot of the shiny ones will be sitting behind my shop waiting on a turbocharger and a transmission. Today I am counting down 10 of those forgotten vans, then 5 that come through my bay so often I know the part numbers by heart. Number 1 is the van I would put my own money on if I needed one vehicle for the next 15 years. I rank these on 3 things: what the drivetrain is doing at 200,000 miles with weight in the back, what the common failure costs at an independent shop instead of a dealership, and whether the parts sit on a shelf in a small town parts store on a Saturday. And I know who is watching. Some of you want a van for retirement travel, something you can take south in January. Some of you need a work van that does not eat the profit out of a small business. And some of you are helping a son or a grandson who has more enthusiasm than experience. All 3 of you are shopping the same row. Number 10, the Chevrolet Astro and its twin, the GMC Safari, built from 1985 all the way to 2005. This van delivered flowers and plumbed houses across the country in the 90s, and today they sit behind body shops with weeds growing through the wheels. Nobody wants one because it looks like something your uncle drove to work in 1997. Underneath is a body-on-frame chassis, rear-wheel drive, and the 4.3-liter Vortec V6, which is a Chevy small block V8 with 2 cylinders taken off the end. A neighbor of mine runs a 1999 Astro for a carpet cleaning business at 230,000 miles on the original engine and transmission. Clean ones sell for $3,000 to $7,000. Check the rocker panels and the floor behind the front seats for rot, because that is what actually kills them. Then check the upper intake gaskets, because the plastic ones leak coolant around 150,000 miles. $400 job, known issue, not a reason to walk away. The Astro's weakness is that floor. The next van has a floor so wide, it changes what you can build in the back. Number 9, the Dodge Ram van, built from 1994 through 2003, with the 5.2-liter Magnum V8. This is the boxiest, plainest, least fashionable van ever sold in North America, and that is why it is cheap. The 5.2 Magnum is a pushrod V8 with a timing chain, port fuel injection, and a distributor you can reach without removing a thing. Behind it sits the 46RE automatic, which every shop in America has rebuilt 100 times. What most people miss is the floor. It is the widest flat floor of any full-size van of that generation, wide enough that a bed fits sideways across the back. A mobile welder brought one in last fall, with 211,000 miles on the factory engine. Everything wrong with it was leaking valve cover gaskets and one worn ball joint. Prices sit between $3,500 and $7,000. Look hard at the steel brake lines under the driver floor for rust. Now, the Ram van has one problem you cannot fix with a wrench. It looks like a work van. Number 8, the Toyota Sienna, from 2004 through 2010. I know this is a minivan, and half of you just made a face. Hear me out, because there is one advantage no cargo van here can give you. Nobody looks at it twice. A minivan sits in a driveway or a motel lot and draws no attention. A white cargo van in the same spot draws a phone call. If you are traveling, that matters more than horsepower does. The 2004 through 2006 vans use the 3.3-liter V6, and 2007 and later use the 3.5-liter 2GR FE, the same engine family Toyota put in the Camry and the Lexus RX. Timing chain, port injection, no turbocharger. I have a customer at 308,000 miles on a 2008 Sienna, who has replaced an alternator, a water pump, and one set of front struts in 12 years. They sell for $5,000 to $9,000. Confirm the oil cooler hose recall was done on 2007 and later. The Sienna gives you invisibility, but it will never give you standing room. This next one is the cheapest way in the world to get that. Number 7. The Dodge and Freightliner Sprinter, first generation, sold here from 2002 through 2006, with the 2.7-liter inline 5-cylinder turbodiesel. Van people call it the T1N. The identical van wearing a Mercedes badge sells for thousands more than the same van wearing a Dodge or Freightliner badge, and there is not one mechanical difference between them. Same Stuttgart-built engine, same 5-speed automatic, same body. That badge gap is free money sitting on the ground. The 2.7 inline 5 is about as simple as a diesel gets. No particulate filter, no exhaust fluid tank, no regeneration cycle waiting to strand you in a parking lot. These pass 300,000 miles routinely. A retired couple brought me one before they bought it, and I told them to walk away because the rear door frames were rotted through behind fresh paint. 2 months later, they found a clean one out of Arizona for $9,000. Prices run $8,000 to $15,000, and rust is the entire inspection. Check the wheel arches, the door frames, and the seams around the sliding door track. Now, some of you do not need that much van, and you do not want to feed a diesel either. Number 6. The Ford Transit Connect from 2010 to 2013, with the 2.0-liter Duratec 4-cylinder. This is the little European-built van Ford imported for florists and cable companies. When those fleets dumped them all at once, the market had no idea what to do with a tall, skinny van with a 4-cylinder in it, so prices fell through the floor and stayed there. The 2.0 Duratec is closely related to the engine in the Ford Focus and the Mazda 3. Timing chain, port injection, no turbo, and around 24 miles per gallon on the highway. A hospice nurse, who works out of one, covers 40,000 miles a year, and in 3 years, she has replaced tires, brakes, and one battery. They go for $5,000 to $9,000. It is front-wheel drive with a 4-speed automatic, so pull the dipstick and confirm the fluid is red and not brown. That is the small end of the list. From here, everything gets heavier, starting with the van that built more small businesses than anything else here. Number 5. The Ford E150 Econoline built from 1997 to 2008, specifically with the 4.6-liter Triton V8. Ford sold millions of these, and that flood of supply is the entire reason a straight one sits unsold on a lot in Ohio at $4,000, while a Transit 2 spaces over asks $30,000. The 4.6 Triton is not exciting. It makes about 225 horsepower, and it will run to 300,000 miles as long as the oil gets changed. Behind it is the 4R70W Automatic, one of the most rebuildable transmissions Ford ever produced. Prices run $4,000 to $8,000 for a straight body. One inspection item matters more than all the others combined. These 2-valve engines have aluminum heads with only a few threads holding each spark plug, and a plug can strip and blow straight out of the head. Pull the doghouse cover, look for a thread repair insert, and ask the seller directly. A properly installed insert is fine. A bad one hidden under a coil is a headache you inherit. If this kind of straight advice is useful, hit subscribe. I break down a different vehicle every week. And keep number 4 on my avoid list in mind, because it is the van most of you will want to defend in the comments. Number 4. The Chevrolet Express and GMC Savannah 2500 series, roughly 2003 to 2016, with the 4.8-liter Vortec V8. Fleet buyers bought these by the thousand, ran them on a documented service schedule, and dumped them at auction at 140,000 miles. What you get is an iron block V8 with no cylinder deactivation and no direct injection. Bolted to a 4-speed automatic, every shop has rebuilt 100 times. A plumber outside Kansas City runs a 2011 Express at 264,000 miles on the original engine and transmission. In 8 years of daily work, he has replaced a water pump, an alternator, 2 fuel pumps, and a starter. Prices land between $7,000 and $14,000, and X-Fleet units come with a stack of service records nobody at the auction bothers to open. Read them. That stack is worth more than the tires. Check the brake and fuel lines above the rear axle for corrosion. If that is not big enough, there is a version almost nobody shopping for a camper ever looks at. Number 3. The Chevrolet Express and GMC Savannah 3500 box van with the 6.0-liter Vortec V8. This is the 14-foot box truck you see behind grocery stores and moving companies. People shopping for a travel van look right past it because it does not look like a camper, and that blind spot is why it is the best value on this list. The 6.0-liter Vortec is the same engine family that went into 3/4-ton Silverados, paired with the 4L80E, a transmission built to move far more weight than any interior build will put on it. The box is already framed, already has a wood floor, and the walls are flat and ready to insulate. A retired couple I know bought a 2013 box van at auction for $11,000 with 180,000 fleet miles, spent one winter on the inside, and have driven it to Alaska and back twice. Market range is $8,000 to $16,000. Check the exhaust manifold bolts, because they snap on this engine family, and walk the box floor listening for soft spots. Now, before I get to number 2, one thing. This matters if you are looking at a van for retirement travel, helping a son or a grandson pick one out, or just want a work van that does not turn into a money pit. A lot of people roll into my shop with questions that have nothing to do with engines. They ask how a regular person gets into a government or fleet auction instead of a licensed dealer. They ask how to get a van inspected when the seller is a stranger 2 states away and the photographs look a lot better than the vehicle. And they ask which title problems turn a cheap van into one you cannot legally put on the road. I cannot fit all of that into a video, so I wrote it down. It is called the Van Life Savings Manual, and it is free. The link is in the description underneath this video, and there is a QR code on your screen right now if you are watching on your television. Read it before you spend $1 on anything. Now, number 2. Number 2. The Ford E350 Econoline with the 7.3-liter Power Stroke diesel, built from 1995 through 2003. Put this engine in an F-250, and the internet will happily charge you $30,000 for a rusty one. Put the same engine in a white extended body van, and it sits at auction for a third of that, because nobody pictures a van as something worth saving. It is the same international-built engine either way. Cast iron block, no particulate filter, no exhaust fluid, no regeneration cycle. Nothing on it fails because of emissions equipment, which is why these are still working at 400,000 miles while newer diesels sit parked. I inspected one last year at 371,000 miles that still made full power and did not smoke under load. Prices run $8,000 to $18,000. Ask about the camshaft position sensor, because they fail without warning, and every owner who has been through it keeps a spare in the glove box. And here it is. Number 1. Number 1. The Nissan NV 2500 HD and the NV 3500, built from 2012 to 2021, with either the VQ40DE V6 or the 5.6-liter V8. If I had to buy one vehicle that could work, travel, and stay out of a repair shop for 15 years, this is what I would come home with. Almost nobody knows it exists. Nissan barely advertised it, sold most of them to fleets, then shut the program down in 2021, and that crushed resale values overnight. The VQ40DE is the same V6 family Nissan put in the Frontier, the Xterra, and the Pathfinder. Naturally aspirated, timing chain, port fuel injection, no turbocharger, and no carbon building up behind the intake valves, because fuel still washes across them the way it should. I have taken these apart past 300,000 miles and found factory internals in spec. The high roof gives you just over 6 foot 3 inches of interior height, so a tall man stands straight in the back and never ducks. The 5.6-liter V8 is the same engine as the Titan and the Armada, and it will pull a heavy build up a grade in July without dropping a gear. Pricing is where this stops making sense. A 2015 to 2018 high roof with 80 to 130,000 miles sells for $12,000 to $22,000. A comparable Ford Transit high roof from the same years is asking $25,000 to $35,000. Reliability does not explain that gap. The badge does, and so does the fact that Nissan walked away from the segment. Pull the transmission dipstick and look at the fluid. It should be red and smell clean, and the 5-speed will outlast the body if it was changed every 60,000 miles. Listen for a rattle from the front of the engine on cold start, which points at timing chain guides. Parts availability is the honest downside now that production ended, but the drivetrain is shared with the Frontier and the Titan, so the expensive parts are still on a shelf near you. That is the good list. Now the vans that keep coming back through my door, because knowing what to avoid saves more money than knowing what to buy. Number 5 on the avoid list, the Dodge Grand Caravan and Chrysler Town & Country from 2008 through 2016. Cheap to buy, and there is a reason. The engine is rarely what ruins one. The part that does it is a black box under the hood called the Totally Integrated Power Module, which runs the fuel pump, the wipers, the lights, and the starting circuit in one sealed unit. When it goes, the van will not start on Tuesday and starts fine on Wednesday. I had a woman bring one in 3 times over 5 months, and it started every time it sat in my bay. If you want a cheap minivan, buy the Sienna at number 8 instead. Number 4, the Mercedes Sprinter NCV3 from 2007 through 2016 with the 3.0-liter V6 turbodiesel. This is the van every travel video on the internet recommends, and it is the one that empties bank accounts fastest. The oil cooler seals sit in the valley underneath the intake manifold, so a leak that costs a few dollars in rubber turns into a labor bill measured in days. Then you have the recirculation valve, the filter regeneration cycle, the exhaust fluid system, and injector seals that pack carbon around each injector until they have to be pulled. A contractor brought me one at $160,000 asking for an oil cooler estimate, and when I gave him the number, he thought I had made a mistake. Buy the first generation at number 7 instead. Number 3, the Ram ProMaster from 2014 onward. On paper, this looks perfect. Flat floor, tall roof, front-wheel drive, square walls, easy to build out. In practice, the 3.6-liter Pentastar is bolted to the 62TE, a transaxle designed to move a minivan and now asked to haul a 9,000-pound van up a grade in July with the air conditioning running. I see that fluid come out burnt dark at 100,000 miles. Add electrical faults that take real hours to chase, and panels thin enough that a shopping cart leaves a permanent crease. I had a customer with a beautiful build-in one who was into his second transaxle before the interior was finished. Number 2, the Ford E350 with the 6.0-liter Power Stroke diesel, sold from 2003 to 2007. On a Super Duty truck, a shop can lift the cab off the frame and reach everything on top of that engine in an afternoon. In an E-Series van, that is impossible, because the engine lives buried under the doghouse between the front seats. So every known 6.0 failure costs dramatically more in labor here than in the truck. The recirculation cooler plugs, the oil cooler plugs ahead of it, and the head bolts stretch and let the gaskets go. I turn these away now. If you want a diesel Econoline, buy the 7.3 and walk right past the 6.0. Check the engine, not the badge. And number 1 on the avoid list is going to upset some people. because it is the best-selling van in America. The Ford Transit from 2015 through 2019 with the 3.5-liter EcoBoost V6. The problem is the water pump, and it is not the kind you can see. It is chain-driven and mounted inside the engine, so when the seal wears out, the coolant does not go on the ground where you would see it. It drains into the oil pan, mixes with the oil, and takes out the bearings. No puddle in the driveway, no temperature warning. The first sign most owners get is a knock. I have had 2 towed to me in the last 18 months, both owned by people who had done every oil change on schedule, and neither was worth repairing. So there it is, 10 vans the market has forgotten, and 5 that will keep you sitting in a waiting room reading old magazines. The Astro, the Ram van, the Sienna, the first-generation Sprinter, the Transit Connect, the E150, the Express, the Savannah box van, the 7.3 Econoline, and at the top, the Nissan NV. None of them will impress anybody at a campground or in your neighbor's driveway. What they have is the thing the modern van industry forgot how to build, which is simplicity that keeps working. Next time a salesman walks you toward a $60,000 van with 2 turbochargers hanging off the engine, you know what to do. Walk to the back of the lot and find the boring one. If you want the full-size trucks that earned the same reputation in my bay, that video is on your screen right now. Click it, and the manual is in the description whenever you want it. 23 years of pulling wrenches taught me one thing worth repeating. The vehicles the market ignores are almost always the ones you should be buying. Drive safe, take care of your van, and it will take care of you.